Other scientists concentrate their efforts on trying to explain how complex organs, such as eyes, could have developed by a slow, step-by-step evolutionary process involving small changes in genes and environmental selection. This question is expanded in a book by Behe called Darwin's Black Box. In the book, Behe gives examples of complex systems that did not serve meaningful functions until they were close to being fully developed. He asks how mutation and selection processes could account for such development over time. Behe notes, modern biochemistry has revealed a cellular world of precisely tailored molecules and staggering complexity that throws an enormous monkey wrench into the plausibility of gradual evolution. The traditional evolutionary view is that intermediate stages had other functions before they finally took on the role of an organ such as the eye. Behe concludes, to my mind, these other roles are often highly speculative. This problem of irreducible complexity is encountered right at the start of life. The simplest living cell is in fact incredibly complex, and all of this complexity has to be present at the same time before it can be considered to be alive. We increasingly encounter complex structures and intricate chemical reactions within living organisms. Another structural example is the human ear. This extremely complex structure includes 3 tiny bones, the malleus, incus, and stapes, that are together called the ossicles. These tiny bones transmit sound from the eardrum to the cochlea of the inner ear. They have to be of a very precise size and shape in order to transmit the sound. Furthermore, to enable a baby to hear as well as an adult, these bones have to be the same size at birth. As a result, these tiny bones are the only bones in the human body that do not change in size from the cradle to the grave. This is yet another example of complexity that only functions when fully formed. It raises the question of what environmental selection could have led to small, step-by-step evolution of these complex structures. Unfortunately, scientific literature sometimes looks at these problems of complex organs, such as the human eye, in a purely theoretical manner. Richard Dawkins, in his 1966 book, Climbing Mount Improbable, proposes a series of theoretical steps by which a complex structure such as the human eye might have evolved purely by random mutations and natural selection. He points out that although mutations occur randomly and are therefore chance events, he believes that natural selection is not a chance process. Changes are selected because they benefit the animal in some way. This emphasis on natural selection not being a chance process is important in Dawkins' argument. This is because he himself admits that the chance, even for a typical enzyme composed of some hundreds of amino acids, to come together purely by chance, is about 1 in 20 to the power 100. This is a horrifyingly low probability. Dawkins admits that it is far bigger than the number of fundamental particles in the entire universe. In my view, Richard Dawkins fails to provide a convincing argument for evolution of the human eye. The fossil record simply does not support the slow, step-by-step changes that he suggests may have occurred from a simple photocell to a complex compound eye. For instance, the fossils show all trilobites without eyes, and then suddenly they have complex compound eyes like modern insects without any intermediate stages. Furthermore, Dawkins has, in my view, greatly understated the problems that an evolution of the eye would have encountered. We should take time to look in detail at some of these complex structures and chemical systems within living creatures so as to fully realize how complex they are. For instance, the human eye has automatic focusing and aperture adjustment. It has about 135 million light receptor cells, some 120 million of which are rod-shaped and function to distinguish between light and dark. Another 6 million cells are cone-shaped and are able to identify literally millions of variations in color. All of this information is passed by an amazing impulse transmitting system to the brain. The brain can then analyze each second what the person is looking at and can even analyze moving things. As the Bible says in Psalm 139, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Considering the many questions that remain, we need to find an as yet unknown process whereby creatures can suddenly be given a large genetic upgrade. This upgrade would have to involve reorganizing existing genetics in a way that ensured the emergence of a totally new life form, such as the sudden appearance of greater complexity. As an example, when the first fishes appeared, or the first amphibians, reptiles, mammals, or humans, each advance required dramatic increases in genetic material or profound rearrangement within existing DNA. The problem is that within one level of genetic complexity, even fairly small mutations are normally lethal to the animal. Thus, whatever theoretical agency could lead to these dramatic genetic upgrades, it would need to be able to upgrade the whole genetics so as to ensure that this upgrade would survive. If such a process of genetic upgrade is discovered, we would still see the similarities between the DNA genetics of all living things, but the process would no longer be one of slow genetic change over millions of years. Personally, I believe the evidence demands some such genetic upgrade process. However, as yet science has not provided an adequate explanation for these genetic upgrades.